Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Quest Show. I am Lana Quest, and how is everyone? You guys hearing that nice, smooth background music? I'm just here playing with the platform. And before I could figure out how to turn it off, you guys popped up. So I'm going to turn it off right now some kind of way. There we go. So, how is everyone? It's been a pretty busy week, right? Like there's been a lot going on. So, we do have a lot to talk about. I will try not to ramble. I will thank all of the new subscribers. Thank you. Please share the show, subscribe to my channel. There's some of us out here that's still putting in the work because, hey, you still need the information, right? Like someone's got to listen to the elderly felon. Like someone has to take one for the team. And, us small YouTube channels, we're out here reporting on it, we're listening to it, and we're bringing you information so that you don't have to do that. You can just show up here. So anyway, thank you all for showing up tonight. Let's start with California. California is still in crisis. The wildfires are still burning. I don't know how much of it is contained yet. It's just not a lot. I think the last I heard it was like 20% or something like that. Don't quote me on it. Let's just say that it's not contained because that's just really not containment. I did hear that they arrested someone for arson. It's just like, what's wrong with people? Like I feel myself asking that question more and more, like every day. Before I would just, maybe watch the news or something, and like every now and again I'd be like, oh my God, people are crazy. But like I must ask that question no less than 6 or 7 times a day. What's wrong with people? Because every single day, it's like people are doing something that's like more grotesque or just more weird or more out of pocket than normal. It's just like I don't know. I don't have the words for it, but if you feel yourself asking that question a lot, then you understand what I mean. But the wildfires are still going on. The last count was 25 fatalities. I don't know if it's more today because I wrote my notes yesterday, so I'm not sure what it is today. It was 25. I'm sure there will be more. There's a wildfire and those neighborhood fires of that magnitude, you know, 25 would be low, unfortunately. More than 12,000 structures have burnt down to the ground. Um, let's see, since yesterday, there were like a little over 82,000 people under an evacuation order. Again, like this is just awful. And the other awful piece to this, and this is just not California, this is just, states that are at risk for hurricanes, flooding, tornadoes, and things of that nature. There's going to be, well, we were already actually in an insurance crisis, right? Like I was going to say there will be an insurance crisis, but there's already an insurance crisis because Florida is dealing with an insurance crisis when people cannot get insurance and flood insurance. And you have like, how many insurance companies left the state of Florida? Maybe 6 or 7 insurers left there because of climate change. Like that is an insurance crisis. And this California, the people of California are going to deal with that. Although there was an order that, people who were up for cancellation, like if an insurance company was about to cancel you even prior to the wildfire, they cannot cancel you now, and they cannot cancel you due to the wildfires. Let's see how that works, but that's how that is at the moment. But it's at the moment, right? So what happens after it's all said and done? Because this is the other thing that insurance companies will do, because I work for insurance companies. My law firm represents insurance companies. After the incident happens, they will find a reason to cancel you. Like, so, because that's what they do, right? Oh, no, they'll pay this out, but you better believe that they're going to find a reason to cancel you. I don't know what state it was, but I was watching the news where this insurer had a drone, and the drone was flying around to the properties that they were insuring and checking their roofs. And this woman got a cancellation notice because of her roof. I guess they felt like her roof was bad, or maybe it would start leaking soon. I don't know. And sent her a cancellation notice, like preemptively. They're like, oh, your house is shit. Something's going to happen. Let me just cancel you right now. Like, this is the game that the insurance companies play with Americans. So instead of, here's the rant. Here, the rant is coming. It's coming. It's coming. You have House Republicans doing nothing, right? This is something for them to do. There's so much for them to do, but they do nothing. All they do is, like, I don't know, get mad at trans kids, or like, you know, draft a bill for the Gulf of America, or, just the nonsense, right? But when people are suffering, and something that could stop the suffering, not just in a blue state, right? Because they hate the blue states, but in all of the states, Texas would need something like this, right? Florida needs something like this. There's got to be something that Congress could step in and do, and stop these insurance companies from just dropping you just like that. This is their history too, because remember, before Obamacare, if you got cancer, insurance companies would just drop you. Or if you had a pre-existing condition, I don't know, asthma, they may not insure you because they want to take your money. Just imagine the money that they get. People are just paying $300 a month, 4, 5, 6, 7, just a monthly, millions of people to these insurance companies. And we barely get a payout, right? Just barely. There's a lot of us that are barely, right? Massachusetts, we're not having wildfires. We don't have floods. So we're barely getting all of the payouts. So they're actually making money, from other places. But the minute they have to pay out, that's a problem, because you cut into their dividends, into their profits. They don't like that. But the other piece is that Congress won't do anything, the Republicans, because why? They are pro corporations and pro companies and pro insurance companies. That's just how this goes. And again, I have to keep saying, this group of voters were so uninformed. It's like they didn't want to be informed. They almost thought it was like the thing to do was to vote for an elderly felon, right? After all this time calling Biden elderly, then they turned around and voted for an elderly guy and an elderly convict at that, without thinking about the repercussions. And there's so many repercussions. It's like, No one thinks about that. Like, it's so crazy. He comes with baggage. It's just not him. It's coming with a whole bunch of baggage that will impact us all. So, getting back to California, hey, whoever's in the chat, I don't have my glasses on right now. Welcome to the Quest Show. So, again, it impacts us all. And they're continuing to do the thing that Republicans do, division. So good at it. They're so good at it. That's how you know these are some really hateful people, because they're so good at division that they're like pros. What do? They're still lying about the wildfires. They're still running around talking about brushing and raking a forest. And it's so crazy because, again, I work in a law firm and we always think dumb MAGA. Okay, so we're having a deposition. One of the attorneys, he walks in there and he's talking about, what's going on in California. That's really horrible. They just need to get out of there. They just need to get out of there. But, it all could have been prevented if they just brushed the forest. This is an attorney. Like, you want to just say, what the fuck you mean? Like, what does that brush it with what? A brush? A broom? Like, what are you talking about? Brushing a forest, what does that do? I want someone to explain that to me. If there's a MAGA watching, can you please tell me what brushing a forest will do? So, like, is that what Congress is going to spend time talking about? Let's spend money and send everyone out there to clean up the forest. What does that mean? Because if anyone drops a cigarette out there, how do you think the wildfires start? Fucking clean up, do what? Like, there's bushes, there's shrubs, there's trees. We just gonna take all of the like wood or whatever is wood and things that can flammable. How does that work? Can someone just explain it? Because they keep saying it and it drives me nuts when I hear people saying it, because I'm saying, what are you gonna just remove all of the trees? What, you want the forest to become a desert? Like, how do you stop that from not catching fire when it's dry, when there is no humidity, when there is no rain for over a month? What do you think will happen if someone disregards a cigarette, or I don't know, the barbecue or cookout, like just anything? That is so frustrating. And this is the other thing. So on top of the lies that they're spreading, about Gavin Newsom taking water away, like giving it to the fish, it's just the nonsense. Because again, I don't blame Californians for being upset and blaming everybody, because if I was in that situation, there's nothing that you could tell me that's going to make me stop blaming just the world, right? Like, that's just what you're going to do in that situation. But people outside of the situation who see clearly, we know better, right? Like, we're seeing clearly, because common sense would tell me if there is a wildfire, and I heard a man explain it like a blowtorch coming down mountains, right? Like a blowtorch of fire because of the wind. So I don't know how any residential fire hydrants in any state in the United States would have been able to control this wildfire. Was there mistakes? I'm absolutely sure that there were. That's why they're going to have hearings. That's why they're going to ask questions of like the fire chief and stuff like that, to make sure that everything possible could have been done. And how do we fix it or try to correct it for the next time. Again, I don't know how you correct some of that situation because of the wind and embers just flying from one neighborhood to the next neighborhood, and you're trying to put out fires with hydrants. Like, it's not built for thousands at a time. But again, Republicans blame Gavin Newsom. They're blaming Karen Bass. She was not in the country, but I guess she should have predicted that this was going to happen. So she should have, she should have been in the country and been home and not in Ghana again prior to the fire. But then I guess she didn't get back quick enough when the fire started. Again, I don't know her flight details, what the flights were. If she could have gotten a quicker flight, I don't know that. But I'm going to let someone say what I feel about the situation because he said it perfectly. So let's give a listen to him.
And it tells me a lot about why the country is exactly where it is. Makes a lot of sense. But the country is a goddamn joke. So Karen Bass got to go. The mayor of one city, not even of all of California, got to go because of the lies that y'all telling about how she's managed these fires. First of all, the fact that y'all are believing these lies without even taking the time to verify that they are lies tells me a lot about y'all, and it tells me a lot about why the country is exactly where it is.
Believing lies without verification. That is the issue with this whole country. Nobody wants to Google. Like, it's just like you just listen to whatever you hear on, I was gonna say podcasts like mine, right? You don't Google. You don't have to listen to anything that I say. You don't have to believe anything that I say. Google is available, right? So if you hear something, you're like, oh, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. Yeah, Google it and see what the truth is. Facts are not hard to find if you look, if you have critical thinking. These people almost want something to be upset, want someone to blame. Like, this is just a constant blame game. Be upset. Is that fault? That side's fault? Like, that's where we've become. Oh, who we've become.
A lot of sense. But the fact that y'all are saying that the mayor of a city has to go at the same fucking time that y'all just gave power back to a dude who mismanaged a pandemic so badly that 1 million people ain't here no more says a lot. The dude who took the pandemic response playbook left to him by Obama and threw it out because he didn't like Obama. And him throwing out that playbook made the pandemic worse, which again cost 1 million people their lives. Y'all gave him the job back? The dude who fired the pandemic response team because he said, and I quote, "I don't like having a bunch of people around when we don't need them." Y'all gave him the fucking job back. But Karen Bass got to go. The dude who was caught on audio tape, I'm going to say it again, he's caught on audio tape lying about how bad the pandemic is going to be. Y'all gave him the job back, but Karen Bass got to go. The dude, there's not enough ways for me to say, fuck y'all. It's not enough ways and not enough time.
Literally, the dude that got on TV and lied to America. Only one case in China. Like, he lied a bunch of times, right? It wasn't even just the one time. He lied a bunch of times. It was, oh, my microphone went out. One guy in China, and then it was like, it's, on tape telling Woodward, it's not, no, actually, he told Woodward that it was bad, that it was dangerous, and then came back and told us that it wasn't so bad. He knew. And on top of that same guy, we were fighting for equipment so people could breathe all kinds of, what's it called? PPE? I'm not sure what the equipment was called, but we needed the COVID equipment. I'm not talking about the mask and stuff, which we needed as well, right? The protection, needed that as well. But the big equipment, we needed that. Hospitals did not have enough for who they were getting into those hospitals. What did the convicted elderly felon do? He sent it to Russia. He sent it to Russia. But Republicans and the dummies that watch Fox News and Joe Rogan want to call for Karen Bass to resign, want to beat up on Gavin Newsom, when Donald fucking Trump sent COVID equipment to his boy Putin while Americans died, while Americans suffered, while our hospitals were overloaded, while we didn't have enough breathing equipment for Americans. He sent that to Putin and told us to ingest ivermectin. And maybe some type of light can go somewhere to knock it out. But Gavin Newsom? He's a problem? Karen Bass? She's the... No, they're not. This is the game that Republicans do, because what they want to do, they do that. They take the chisel and they break. They're doing it to California. Right? One county at a time. They want to turn red. So they will lie. They just put in that disinformation. All of the Republicans, all of them with the big platforms. Sergeant Pasty that owns Twitter went there and thought he was going to catch a firefighter in the lie. And the firefighter, he didn't catch him in nothing, because the firefighter actually said it was overwhelmed. The fire hydrants were overwhelmed. Yes, we had water here. We were overwhelmed, right? So he didn't get the gotcha moment that he wanted, right? But they put on California because they want to hurt Gavin Newsom, because Gavin Newsom will run for president. It's the same thing they did to Hillary Clinton. Just spread smears, lies, just for years. They did that. Why? So it's in everyone's head. They want Californians to turn that anger and throw it at Gavin Newsom. Throw it at Karen Bass. Because they want California. California, right, we know, has the biggest economy. California is paying the most to the government. California is rocking and rolling. Yes, setback. Yes, fire. Yes, in a crisis. But it's still the biggest economy. Gavin Newsom is running it. So that's what they're doing. That's more what this is about, rather than them just being stupid and I don't know. The MAGA followers, they're the dumb ones. But the lawmakers, they know what the hell they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. Also, this week, was it yesterday, 2 days ago? Forgetting my days. But Pete Hegseth had his confirmation hearing. Dude is smug. He thinks he's the shit. He sat there with his smirk. Republicans just softball questions. Were they even questions? I don't know. At one point, he was asked how many sit-ups or how many push-ups he could do. They asked him to name all 7 of his children. One he kind of forgot his name. I don't know. What else? Asked him what he liked most about his wife. This is a confirmation hearing for someone who wants the Secretary of Defense job. How many push-ups can you do? Excuse me? What? What does that have to do with anything? What the hell is wrong with anything? Someone else popped in the chat Sorry, I'll read them after I get my glasses on. What does the push-ups have to do with anything, right? Democrats try to ask him the poignant questions about, it's just the job. If the convicted elderly felon asked him to, turn military on Americans, would he do it? He wouldn't answer that question. There were a lot of questions he would not answer. Senator Duckworth asked him a question about Asia. Can't remember the question. However, he didn't know the answer, right? Like, he didn't know the answer to the real questions. But you know what he got off on? You know what he was really excited to talk about? DEI. He was just like, he was ready to talk about DEI and woke, right? The blacks. He couldn't be more excited to talk about, yeah, gotta get DEI out of the military. The military has become so woke. Whatever the fuck that means. I guess, like, too many people of color and women and people from the LGBTQ plus communities kind of like making Republicans, I don't know, they just upset about it, right? I'll tell you why they're upset about it in a second. So, like, he needed to talk about that. He went on and on about like how we have to increase our standards for the military. So what he's really saying is that DEI lowers the standards of the military. So he's saying that basically white males are the superior race and they're smarter than the people of color, the women, and people from the LGBTQ plus community. Because according to Hegseth, the standards are being lowered for those people. So, there's white males, heterosexual males are smarter, more physically fit, I guess, stronger. They deserve all the promotions, all of that stuff. That's the code word for what he's saying. Like, lowering the standards, that's what he really means. Like, these people aren't even qualified. So why are we doing that? We're the ones that are qualified. And Senator Duckworth called him out on that because she said, so you want to so-called increase the standards for the military, but you're asking us, senators, to decrease the standards for the job of Secretary of Defense. Right, because that's technically what they're all asked. That's what they're asking. Like, for every position that Trump has nominated someone for, they are not qualified. They're across the board, right? But his thing is I can shake it up. I can make it different. It's so woke right now. I can just dust on my boot kind of guy. It's just like, what the fuck are we talking about? You are replacing a 4-star general. The fuck you think? He don't have dust on his boots? He is qualified. You are not. Like, that's just the thing. But he sits there and he's smug because he knows it don't matter. He's going to get through anyway. He's going to get through anyway. Why wouldn't he? They don't care. No one's going to question him. Why would they? He's failing up. So qualification? What, he knows Trump and his skin color. That's a qualification. It didn't even, Democrats trying to highlight his morals and how many wives he's had and cheating on this wife with this wife and pregnant with that person. There's all the baby's mamas and the blended family and, the rape and shit like that. I don't care. If MAGA cared about rape, why would the elderly convict be going back to the White House? They don't care about rape. Apparently, they don't even care about experience. What they care about is getting rid of that darn woke and that darn DEI, right? Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'll put my glasses on for this. This is the thing right here. It's reminiscent of, because this is what racists say. There's no racism. You can do anything that you want to do. Pick yourself up by the bootstraps and stop complaining. This is what they say. That's reminiscent of when Black men, because they were able to vote before Black women could vote, were able to vote. When Black men tried to vote, because they were able to vote, right? Like laws passed. Yeah, y'all want to vote? Okay, Blacks, you can vote. So sometimes they would have to walk 50 miles to go vote, only to get to a voting spot where they're like, oh, you in the wrong location. You way across in the other town. They had to, right, to disparage them. Or they got there and it's like, guess how many jelly beans are in this jar? Oh, nope, wrong answer. By N-word, you can't vote today. Or, right, because they're making them the literacy tests, right? Some of them couldn't even read. Guess how many bubbles are in soap, right? Like, this is legitimately what they did. Or they just out and out killed them. This is lynch, you know? Maceo Snipes, first person to vote in Alabama County, right? Cast his vote. You know what they did afterwards? Shot him in the back on his porch. Voter registration drives. What did they do to those people? They killed them. They killed them. So they may not be killing us when we apply for promotions or try to get top level jobs, but what they are doing, because they cannot lynch us and they cannot kill us, they're using other means. It's, the DEI, it's unfair, so we're going to take that away. So that's what they're doing. They're taking that away because the system is already set up for white men. It's set up for them. It always has been. This isn't shade. It just is, right? White men, they've owned the corporations. They've been the billionaires. They've owned the companies, right? All the jobs. So diversity, inclusion, and diversity, equity, inclusion, that is so that you are held accountable for overlooking qualified people of color, qualified women, or qualified members of the LGBTQ plus community, right? Because that's what you were doing before. You're like just not hiring them at all. Police force didn't have Black people in it before. It's all white. Firefighters, all white. Like it was just white men, all the jobs, banking, everything. Women couldn't get credit cards, like everything. Black people couldn't even get loans, couldn't even get houses. And you talk about pull yourself up by the bootstrap when we're still trying to catch up, because those things have been taken away from us along with the land. So DEI is not a handout. DEI is trying to make things fair and equitable so that you don't overlook us, even though we are qualified because of the color of our skin or because of our gender or because of who we choose to love or, how we ID. But that's the tool. They take that away. So now it's like, and again, low information voters, like it just went over your heads. It's like you didn't know what they were going to do. It's like Trump. Meanwhile, we have a friggin' drunk person who was accused of rape going to be the head of our military, who will probably not see Black promotions. That's going to go down because, oh no, Black means you're unqualified. When his fucking ass is unqualified. Ugh. Welcome, D. Wayne. Yeah, we are in trouble for the next 4 years. Yep, Duckworth is a hero. Yeah, how can Republicans, I'm reading the chat, how can Republicans be against LGBTQ when they dance to the actual gay anthem? They don't even know they're dancing to the gay anthem. And D. Wayne, is that actually dancing that they're doing? Because I'm going to push back on that a little bit. I don't know if that's dancing or not. But anyway, let's watch a little piece of Hegseth's testimony.
We need moms, but that limitation. You've said yes to that question. But then in all of these other circumstances, you've denigrated active duty service members. We have hundreds of women.
I forgot to mention that. Hegseth also said that women should not be in the military. So there's that piece. I don't know who he thinks is going to be in the military, right? Like, does he think like it's just going to be crazy white nationalists that's signing up? Because to be honest with you, those crazy white nationalists, a lot of them are a bunch of punks and you know what, so they're probably not. So you're going to lose half your military. On top of that, well, I'll let her explain the rest. Let me.
The infantry, lethal members of our military serving in the infantry, but you degrade them. You say, we need moms, but not in the military, especially in combat units. So specific to Senator Cotton's question, because Senator Cotton was giving you layups to differentiate between different types of combat. And specifically, as secretary, would you take any action to reinstitute the combat arms exclusion for female service members, knowing full well you have hundreds of women doing that job right now? And the standards, your 2 mile run, Tom, is about the Army combat fitness test. It is not the requirements to have an MOS 11 Bravo, which is the infantry. These are the requirements today for people serving in the industry, men and women. They are gender neutral and they are very difficult to meet. They have not been reduced in any way. And our combat units, our infantry is lethal. So please explain specifically, because you will be in charge of 3 million personnel. It is a big job.
And they don't care. Like, let's just be real. If the elderly felon cared about the military or about intelligence or about like just any of these things, he would have picked qualified people. He picks the people who are very just not qualified, because those people are just so happy that he picked them to get into these positions that he has their loyalty. Pat Bondi, right? Today, was that today or yesterday? Again, sorry, I can't remember. I think it was yesterday. She lied through her teeth about just about everything, just every single thing, and then kept saying the Attorney General's office will not be politicized, while she said Donald Trump no less than 10 times. Not less than 10 times. I mean, she was his attorney, for God's sake. Like, what? And the Department of Justice, as we all know, is supposed to be separate, independent from him, right? But she couldn't separate herself from the elderly felon. Why? Because she's there to be his right-hand woman. Like, again, low information voters. Y'all didn't think this through. Y'all didn't even know these positions existed. I think you just thought like it should be Donald Trump. He's just going to the White House and that's just him. No. You don't have to think about national defense because we had people who were competent doing the job for the last 4 years. You have to think about that. You just didn't. Intelligence, you have to think about the things that we do intelligence wise, like, spying on our enemies, or, doing whatever we do with our allies and sharing information. This is all being done. Like, America is being protected right now. And you don't even think about it because you don't have to think about it, right? Them intercepting, people plotting against us. Those are things that are happening right now. But then when you put people who are incompetent in those jobs, there's going to be lapses everywhere. But y'all motherfuckers didn't think about that. It's just like, this is a game. I'm just going to run around. And then after I go for my run, I'm going to figure out which one I'm going to vote for because I'm not sure yet. Like, I heard someone say that. People. Oh, guess who's gonna be great? And I knew this, so I was like, Melania, look at you, girl. I thought you weren't coming back to the White House, girl. I thought you was like, I'm never going back to the White House. I hate it there. And then all of a sudden, you see Melania creep back into the picture with, like, she's at the different events with him. She's hawking ornaments, she's selling her fucking book, whatever the fuck, her memoir, right? So I'm like, oh, wait a minute. They didn't renegotiated that prenup again. And when Melania has negotiated so that she's getting paid. You know how we know she's getting paid?
Make a deal for me.
Hold on.
I had an idea to hear more from me. So I had an idea to...
So, pause. Melania had an idea. That in itself is wild. Shut the front door. Melania has not had an idea in I don't know how many decades, but let's just keep going.
To make a movie, to make a film about my life. My life is incredible. It's incredibly busy. And I told my agent, I have this idea, so please, go out and make a deal.
So, Melania, her life is so busy. Oh, she's got so much going on. She just had this idea like, oh my God, my life is so busy. I do so much. I'm so important. Why not do a movie or a film? So let's just take a look. So Melania, just some of her grifting prior to this, because I never really thought about this woman, but okay, Fluid Day Serum. She's sold vitamins, cleansing balm, and exfoliating pill for $150. But let's go back to what she got in store for us now. I know it's big because she is just, she's Melania. Stop playing right now.
We started the production in November, and we are shooting right now. So it's a day-to-day life. What I'm doing, what kind of responsibilities I have. People, they don't really know, and they will see it. It's day to day, from transition team to moving to the White House, packing, establishing my team, the First Lady office, moving into the White House, what it takes to make the residence your home.
Stop playing right now. This is fucking nonsense on its face. It's like, yo, Trump went to Jeff Bezos because this is gonna be on Prime and was like, what can we do for Melania? Because we did that prenup and I gotta get her X amount of millions of dollars. They are paying Melania $40 million for a documentary because her life is so busy. What she does, like to follow her makeup routine, doing her hair. Like, how are they gonna make her busy? Like, doing what? I want to call her a bad word. Like, doing what, woman? Like, doing what, girl? Like, what are you out here doing? Volunteering? Going to a soup kitchen? Are you doing that, Melania? Because I know like there are certain things that you have to do as a first lady just for the photo op, but you ain't done nothing. Stop playing, right? Follow you around to bring your luggage, your Louis Vuitton luggage back to the White House, right? And go into the room that you don't share with your husband. That's what life is so interesting. Then I looked it up. I'm like, what the hell has Melania done? She started modeling at 16. She went to Paris and Milan so she could start doing some modeling there. Then she met some dude named Paulo, and he's like, hey, yeah, you can make some money in America. So he sponsored her to go and work in New York. So she started working in New York, and Paulo introduced her to Donald Trump. That a few years later, Donald Trump and Melania, got married. Then she had a baby. Like, what? Oh, that's so exciting, Melania. It's just really exciting. That's 40 million. So the moral of the story, and maybe it's not a moral, but the point is, this is again is why low information voters are awful, and you guys did this to us, because now you have people like Jeff Bezos, you have Zuckerberg, you have all these media people, these people with these large platforms wanting to be underneath Donald Trump. Not because Donald Trump is so powerful, but because they know that with a lot of stroking that they can get what they need from him. So Jeff Bezos paying Melania this $4 million is either going to give Jeff Bezos a big tax cut, some type of incentive, right? Quick pro quo, like that's what's going on. You rub my back, I rub your back. And that's what Trump is right now. And that's why, like, the social media, Facebook, all these places right now, they're all underneath Trump's thumb. That means he is going to control media, right? And we're going to get back to this control. But this you can see this. That you can see it happening. $40 million for a documentary on Melania Trump, and she hasn't done shit. She hasn't broken any glass ceilings. She has not done anything. Broke a back? I don't know. It's ridiculous. It's truly ridiculous. Oh wow. Almost 7:50. So while we're talking about social media and things like that, let's go here. Good segue, I guess. I fucked up the segue, to be honest with you. TikTok is set to be no more on Sunday. Kids are going to be freaking out. People who make money are going to be freaking out. They're going to be upset. India got rid of TikTok as well. I don't know. Kids don't, again, young people don't think, low information voters don't think. And I understand that it's taking away, if it's gone, it's taking away a source of income for some people who heavily rely on it. But I see both ways in what's going on right now. I see why America doesn't like TikTok, because China is not our ally. China is an adversary. And China will spy, has been spying on us. Of course, we spy on other countries too, but why would we know that they're using a platform to spy on Americans and to set the algorithms to what they want Americans to see, right? Because that's a part of how people get radicalized, right? So I understand that part of why, and this is a bipartisan thing, it's not just Republicans that think this way, it's Democrats that think this way too. It's both sides, like it's kind of split evenly. There are both sides that think like TikTok should stay. There are both sides that think that TikTok should go. And they don't even want it to go. They just want China to sell it. So it's not China, right? So then you could keep it. But why? China does not want to do that. So that's the fight right now. And I think the Supreme Court is set to decide what's going on. Here's the dangerous part. So the founder, the owner of TikTok is going to be at Donald Trump's inauguration. Again, we never think about this stuff. There's going to be some dealings going on. Elon Musk talked about buying TikTok because, again, right? I don't know if y'all are on Twitter, but Elon Musk kind of controls what you see. Oftentimes he can, mess with that algorithm to look for certain hashtags so your tweets aren't going as far. He can make it so that anything, I don't know, maybe the hashtag Sleepy Joe, right? If you're using that, he can make sure that hashtag is really being put out there and those tweets are really, so that those are the things that you see, right? So he can control that. So Elon, if he were to purchase TikTok, that's what our kids would be seeing. They would cut and paste videos of Trump, right? Making him look young or cool, or making it seem like he's doing things for Americans, right? Like, so that's what's going to be pumped out there to our kids. So that is the fear that I have, because kids are going to even be more informed, right? Like just not really knowing what the hell is going on, because it's just really getting confusing out there and you're not knowing what to believe, what platform that they need to be on. So that's what's going on with TikTok. Because again, India went through the same thing, and 200 million people were on TikTok in India, and just one day it was gone because, again, they did not want China spying on their citizens. So they got rid of it in India. And it's interesting because I guess people, when this first started to come about, these issues with TikTok, Instagram set up, is it Reels, and YouTube set up Shorts as something that you can use in lieu of TikTok. I'm not on TikTok a lot, so I ain't got no skin in the game, either or. I don't know. Y'all will work it out, because young people or whoever's making money on this, y'all will figure out another platform to go on and make your money, because can't stop y'all. Let's see what else is going on. This was a little funny tidbit that I saw come across my feed. I'll explain afterwards.
Go. That's it.
A fight. What you mean? People of color ain't the only one that be out here fighting, because that's what Republicans say. It's like black men are thugs. They fighting, the lawmakers are fighting. So MAGA lawmaker, I don't know his name, not even important. Georgia Senate, State Senate in Georgia. The MAGA guy there that got knocked on his ass. He's pro Trump MAGA. And I guess Kemp was in there doing his, I don't know, maybe State of the State address or whatever it was. And they banned the MAGA guy out here, pro-Trump, because he doesn't like Kemp. So they didn't want him to come in. So he tried to bust his way in anyway. And they had the police there. So they arrested him. So I just thought that was funny because it's like, what y'all doing out here? Like, seriously, y'all don't govern. Y'all just want to be fighting. Remember McCarthy when he was like trying to become the speaker? Didn't he elbow somebody? Remember Bopart and Marjorie Taylor Greene was calling each other bitch on like the House floor? Like, stop playing with me. And speaking of decorum in the House of Representatives, let's see what happened just this week. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, let me start it. Oh, here we go.
Somebody's campaign coffers really are struggling right now. So she gonna keep saying trans, so that people will feel threatened. And child, listen, I want y'all to tell me whether or
Do
not
call me a child. I am no child.
I want
Don't
to
even
find
start.
out
I am a grown
which
woman.
of those
I'm 47 years
emails
old. I have broken
actually
more
have.
glass ceilings than you
Chairman,
ever
I
will
am
in your
reclaiming my
life.
time.
You will not do that. I
Order.
am not a child.
I am reclaiming my time.
If you want to take it outside,
Mr. Chairman, the committee is not
Okay.
in order.
Order.
Point of order.
Order.
You know what? It's going to be a crazy 4 years for real. So, on a serious note, they were having organization meetings or whatever like that, right? So that's what this was. This was supposed to be a serious meeting, an organization meeting. Jasmine Crockett, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, she had an amendment to reinstate the Oversight Subcommittee on Civil Rights and Civil Liberties. Because remember, they got rid of that when the Republicans took over the House. They got rid of the Civil Rights Subcommittee. So she has an amendment to reinstate it. And she was reading it. And then crazy Nancy Mace starts talking about trans people and has nothing to do with what she said. Like, it's just, something's wrong with Nancy Mace. Like, we're not sure what's going on with Nancy Mace, but like, she's obsessed with the trans because Nancy Mace is I think her first name is Nancy. Remember, she had that trans bill about trans women can't use the bathroom in the house or something, like they had to go, House of Representatives, they had to go outside the building or something she was saying because a trans woman was coming to Congress. So that was her being an asshole towards this woman coming to Congress. Like, that's who Nancy Mace is. Is that her name, Nancy Mace? Like, Mace, something Mace. But she used to be pro LGBTQ. So now she has just, her mission is to attack the trans. But, you know, as Jasmine said, it's all about her coffers. Like, the more she attacks trans and acts like this with her big cross earrings to say, hey, I am religious, I go to church, look at my cross earrings and my cross necklace. The more she does those things, she thinks that that's how she gets her donations and her money. So, like, it's pretty pathetic and it's pretty sad, but that's what's going on. But that subcommittee is just they're not going to do it, right? They're not going to do it. Why do you need a civil rights subcommittee, according to Republicans? Because there's no racism. There's no bigotry. Nobody's civil rights are being, tramped upon, according to them, right? So there's that piece. Thank you, Jasmine, for trying. Thank you. Maybe one day, maybe when we get the vote right next time, maybe in 2 years, right? During the midterms, we'll get the shit right and take over the House and give Hakeem Jeffries his frigging gavel that he deserves. Let's see. Speaking of trans, they did get to work not on the eggs that everyone is saying is too expensive, not on price gouging, not on the cost of childcare, not on any of those things, but they damn sure did get together a bill real quick restricting trans athletes from participating in women's sports. Again, the percentage of trans athletes participating in sports is like 0.01. It's barely a thing, but let Republicans tell it, it's just a widespread. They're everywhere. They're putting your daughters, women in danger. It's just like, again, it's making Americans, right? These are Americans, the other, so that people hate them and fear them because you tend to hate the things that you fear and you don't understand. That's the thing that they're doing. They're doing this stigma, and it's just really disgusting. And the kids, right? Like, you're doing this to the kids. Like, you're putting a stigma on children. You're supposed to be protecting children. Are trans children not children? Or are their lives less important? Like, again, Republicans use anything as red meat. They don't care who they sacrifice, who their sacrificial lambs are. They don't care. I mean, we saw them in North Carolina after a hurricane tell people, don't pay attention to FEMA. FEMA bad. So people lost homes, wouldn't accept money because they thought if they took the money, then that means that you're going to lose your house or you had to pay it back because it was a loan, right? So they knew that that was going to happen, and then that people would, not take FEMA, couldn't rebuild their homes, the homeless, just living without. They were okay with that. So they're okay doing this to people, even children. So they created this bill, and it's not, it would be different if real concerns are addressed about, say, if it's after puberty, it's unfair if, I don't know, they're winning races and they're stronger. I don't know, whatever the fucking argument that they want to have, but there's got to be a better way to voice a concern if there's a legitimate concern. But again, there's like 0.01% of trans kids in trans sports. Like, it's just a none. It doesn't happen often. So even to have a bill about this is not because there is a problem. It's because you want to make a problem out of nothing. Because this is how they went, and this is apparently, they were running this during football. You take your kids to school and they come back with a surgery, and people were believing that, like, it's just, people just want to hate. That's just all it is. But let's listen to Congressman Frost talk about this bill that Republicans have introduced.
Where they forced her classmates to share whether or not predators, pedophiles, and predators. That empowers pedophiles and predators. They say it's about protecting women, but that's a damn lie. This bill puts all girls, all children at risk in our school systems and across this entire country. We have a bill like this in my state of Florida. And I'll tell you this quick story of a high school student who was student government president of her entire school. And now she's forced to take classes online after authorities published a 500-page report where they forced her classmates to share whether or not they have seen her naked in the locker room and seen her genitalia. Strangers, adult men, could ask girls as young as 4 years old personal questions about their body. And so my question is, they say it's about protecting girls, but for people listening at home, is it protecting girls to empower strangers to question your daughter about what's in their pants? No, it's disgusting. Is it protecting girls to empower adult men to ask your daughter to inspect what's in her pants while you're not around? No, that is pedophilia. It is predatory behavior. The hate on the other side of the aisle for trans Americans is so much so that they're willing to put all of our children, all of our daughters at risk of a serious problem in this country. So to protect our kids, we have to vote no on the Republican Child Predator Empowerment Act.
And it is like, what are you gonna do? But this is what they've been saying. It's like, you're just gonna like have them pull down their pants and check to see if they're a man or a woman. The same with the bathroom. Like, how do you know? What are you going to do? Let me see? Like, what's wrong with people? Again, see, I just asked that question again. What's wrong with people? It's just, I don't get it. I don't care. Because you know who the real predators are? And the molesters and the rapists? They're friggin' the law enforcement. They're the clergy and these fucking MAGA. That's who's been coming across my feed as people who have been torturing children or raping their adopted kids. They've all been like friggin' cops and clergy and Bible study teachers. Make a bill about them. How about that? Oh my God. Okay, it's after 8. Let's hurry up. I think I have, oh my God, a few more. I have to play this one because, you know, we always have to play when Byron Scott gets owned. So I'm not going to talk a lot. I'm just going to let Byron Scott get owned on personhood because, you know, Republicans out here like, oh, embryos get personhood because they're people. So let's let him get owned because the look on his face is the same one that when he got owned by Joy Reid, like every time he gets owned. Let's play that footage.
It's when you see a
country
Byron.
does believe that an unborn child has rights.
Okay,
half of our country
here's
does.
the road that you're on,
and that's why you have. That's why
fine. I'm not going to argue over the
decision.
science of
that's
that
all.
because I understand that there's something to be said about that. But a person becomes a person at birth. Okay. Wait, hold on. Because wait a second. I'm not talking about biology, and I'm not talking about religion, because we can have different definitions of when you think life begins, okay? I'm not arguing that. But personhood begins at birth. It always has. It's when you see a tombstone, it's from the moment they were born to the moment they died. It doesn't say the moment of conception to the moment they died on a tombstone. It doesn't say that, okay? That's how we have always...
Byron's face is priceless because he can't answer that because it's absolutely true. Your grave, your tombstone does not say at point of conception. It says when you were born, because when you are born, you become a person, because once you are born, that is when you get claimed on taxes, not before. When you are born is when you get benefits, not before. When you are born is when you get on your parents' medical insurance and all the insurances. That's when you are recognized as a person, when you are born. So that fucking personhood as an embryo is so fucking convoluted and bullshit. I don't fucking care about what half of America, because to be honest with you, it wasn't, because I listened to these foolish fucking women like, oh no, I'm gonna vote for Donald Trump, right? They voted for him, the top of the ticket, and then voted for the Democrat for like, I don't know, Senate or Congress or whatever, because they figured that person would protect abortion rights. And Donald Trump would not make it national. Like, make it make sense. Make it make some sense. It's because of him that it's even the Supreme Court got rid of Roe. Like, it's because of him. So that on his face is stupid, but I digress. Let's go back.
Measured personhood. Personhood also has a definition with the government. Personhood also is defined by when and where you are born. Citizenship is determined when and where you are born, not when you're conceived or where you're conceived. Good God, do you know what the country would be like if we determined personhood by where people are conceived? First of all, Republicans would lose their fucking minds.
It's true. All right, I'm gonna hurry and not talk so much. So lastly, we did hear Joseph Biden's farewell address. I'm only gonna play one, which is the what I felt was the more important thing that he said during his address. I'm just gonna play that. I'm not gonna talk about the address because I am over the time. So let's play that.
Freedoms.
Let's back up.
That give me great country of some things that give me great concern. This is a dangerous concentration, and that's a dangerous concentration of power in the hands of a very few ultra-wealthy people. The dangerous consequences if their abuse of power is left unchecked. Today, an oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that literally threatens our entire democracy, our basic rights and freedoms, and a fair shot for everyone to get ahead. We see the consequences all across America, and we've seen it before, more than a century ago. But the American people stood up to the robber barons back then and busted the trusts. They didn't punish the wealthy, just made the wealthy play by the rules everybody else had to. Workers want rights to earn their fair share. You know, they were dealt into the deal, and it helped put us on a path to building the largest middle class, the most prosperous century any nation in the world has ever seen.
Well, we got a long way to go for that because y'all idiots put the oligarchs in charge. Like, what again? Like, a lot of things to me, they're just common sense. Like, why an average American put like billionaires, just billionaires in charge? And not just any billionaires that just like haven't done shit. I'm not talking about, billionaires who give their money, that they're philanthropists and things of that nature. No, America said, I'm going to put the selfish ones up there. That's who I'm going to put up there. I'm going to put Elon Musk, who's acting as the president right now. I'm going to have him up there with Donald Trump, and he's fucking from South Africa. He's not even American. He's not even American. Not even American. But that's okay, ain't it, MAGA? Like, you can't make any of this make sense because it doesn't make any sense. Why don't we see Elon Musk with a wing in the hospital? A wing in a college, a park named after Elon Musk. Like, we don't see a road, a bridge, a community center. You don't see any of that shit named after Elon Musk. Why? Because he's a selfish motherfucker. Like, he just is. That's the guy that what we thought or you thought is going to do what? What? Cost of eggs, bread, groceries, childcare? Nothing that he has ever had to deal with in his life. Because common sense to me would be, I would vote for the people who are closest to my struggle, who understand struggle, who may have come from a single mom or who worked at McDonald's or who had to work for a living, who had to put themselves through school or law school. But you chose an elderly convicted felon who has never led a life of service, who stole from his own charity, who was sued for housing discrimination because he wouldn't rent to Black people, and he settled, who scammed people with Trump University, seniors, mostly older people, right? Giving up all their cash, enrolling into the scheme because that's what it was, supposedly teaching people about real estate. And then you would have to buy like the bronze package, then the silver package, and then the platinum package. Just all these different packages. You're just giving money. He had to settle with that. He bankrupted his casinos. He never paid his bills or his workers. He and Mr. Pasty of Twitter laughed about firing people instead of paying them overtime. And this is the guy, just because, right? He had one qualification that you love, right, MAGA? Hate. That's the qualification right there. That did it for you. It wasn't about any of the other stuff. You don't care about any of that stuff. You don't care if you are broke. You don't care if you don't have any teeth. You don't care if your hair falls out, your teeth fall out. You don't care about any of that stuff. What you did care about was he hates. He hates the other. That's what you liked about him. So that's why you were okay with putting him and the other guy, knowing that people like that, they don't give. They're not capable. As I said, that's why you don't see anything named after them. Trump's name is on buildings for profit. That's not a wing in a hospital that he gave money to. Guarantee he ain't gave shit to California. He's not gonna give anything to California. He didn't give anything to North Carolina when they had a hurricane. He just talks. It's just out of his mouth. He's not helping anyone. The holidays went through. I didn't see Trump or Sergeant Pasty at some hospital giving out gifts. I didn't see Miss Grifter Melania, who's got a $40 million deal. I didn't see her at some hospital with burn victims trying to help them or giving out gifts. I didn't see these people on Thanksgiving handing out meals to the unhoused or the, people with issues. I didn't see that because they don't do it. It's not on footage. You won't see it because he doesn't do it. So if he just doesn't do it, it's not in his spirit and it's not in his heart. So why in the world would he become president? I mean, just check this out. On day one, he said he's going to, pardon J6ers. Like, that's part of his day one plan. Part of his day one plan is not lowering the cost of groceries. You know why? Because he said, I don't think I'll be able to do that. Part of his day one plan is not making sure that housing prices are lower. Part of his day one plan was not lowering the cost of childcare. Part of his day one plan was not taking care of high cost of prescriptions. Part of his day one plan was not anything that could help Americans. Part of his day one plan was to help his fucking self by pardoning those J6ers, because you know why? Not because he cares about them, but because he may be able to use them in some kind of capacity, because they will be beholden to him, because that is what he wants. Beholden. Bend that fucking knee, motherfucker. That's what he wants. He pardons them. They're in his hand. You owe me. And with that, I'm going to play that last video. And then I hope everyone has a great weekend. But do watch this video, because after all of this, this is actually kind of funny. Hold on a second.
Dollars you can get your own if you voted for me because of the price of eggs. So I wanted to unveil my new plan. Introducing Trump chickens. For the low price of $1,000, you can get your own Trump chicken. Guaranteed to lay so many eggs, you'll never have to buy eggs again, folks. Talk about lowering prices. So get yours today before they're gone. For a limited time, you can get $5 off. Use promo code DUMBASS.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it. Again, please like, share, please subscribe if you're watching. Just hit the button, subscribe. Hit the like button. I appreciate it. Everyone's appreciated. Thank you to anyone who joined the chat. Thank you all. Check me out on Tuesdays on the Black and White Show with Brian Rundo at 7 p.m. here on YouTube. And I will see you next Thursday at 7 p.m. We will have a lot to talk about because it will be after the inauguration. So everyone take care. Be safe out there. Anyone out in California, please be safe. My thoughts are with you there. I know a couple of people who have lost their homes there. So my thoughts are definitely there with you. So everyone take care.